Hi everyone, I'm Tim and you're watching The Man Who Planted Potatoes. Spuds update, the potatoes are growing wonderfully. Now the shallots are getting more and more yellow, so it's probably time to harvest them soon. The beans I'm a little bit worried about. They've had a bit of a hard start. I'm going to talk more about the beans next week, but basically the reason they've been struggling is because the dog started eating the bean poles. But check out the tomatoes and the leeks. Every single one of the tomato seeds has germinated and all but 3 of the leeks are growing too. Normally people say plant 3 seeds for each plant you're trying to grow. So to have 20 out of 20 on the tomatoes is pretty good. And that's going to be this week's topic. My friend Tom of PE with Mr. Dalton fame got in touch with me and sent me these. These are tomato plants he's been growing himself. Thank you so much, Tom. But let's talk about tomatoes and what I'm hoping is going to happen with mine. I planted about 20 in used seed trays, and about 11 of those 20 are seeds bought from a garden centre, and then the other 9 or so are seeds that have been grown from the insides of a shop-bought vine tomato. So this is kind of a little experiment to see, can you grow them from shop-bought tomatoes? And so far, the answer seems to be yes. I reused some seed trays because I had some knocking about, but you don't have to use seed trays. You can use egg containers. I've heard they make great incubators. Also heard yogurt pots are good. But if you're going to use these kind of food containers, you need to make sure to poke a hole in the bottom of them to allow the water to drain out of the bottom of the soil. Another really good thing to use as a seed pod is the cardboard core of a toilet bowl. That's actually what Tom's used in this picture, and I'll do a video showing you how to turn one into a seed pod. I planted mine about 10 days ago now, and I've been watering them with warm water. A watering can is a bit too harsh for these. I've seen lots of people use spray bottles from things like surface cleaners and stuff that have been washed out and repurposed. I'm actually using a water bottle, which is really good because it just sort of dribbles a little bit onto the plants. My hope is that I'll be able to transplant these eventually into empty food cans. But these tomatoes are not going outside at any point. They're going to grow on my windowsill, and I'm going to need a big windowsill if there's 20 of them. Now the mark for when to move them from the incubators into their pots is when they grow 2 true leaves. So Tom, it's probably time for you to transfer them into some bigger containers. Let me know how it goes. I'll keep you updated and hopefully we can see how those tomatoes progress. But yeah, Tom, I hope that's enough information to get you started. Okay, thank you section. On YouTube, thank you to Logan and Music on YouTube for your comments on last week's video. On Instagram, thank you again, PE with Mr. Dalton, for your shout out. And thank you to Bowen Shows and my old friend Joe for following me on Instagram. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you very much. And then we come to Facebook. In 1 week on Facebook, we got 60 likes. Now I know what you're thinking. That's far too many people. Only a madman would read them out. Well, here we go. Thank you to AJ, Christina, Beth, Dominique, Victoria, Paul, Miranda, Seb, Katie, Tobias, Simon, James, Alex, Victoria, Kirsty, Shani, Peter, John, Autumn, Christopher, Alina, Kat, Matthew, Joe, Rosalind, Tessa, Richard, Hassan, Oliver, Cara, Joe, Matt, Francesca, Lara, Grace, Zoe, Dora, Lauren, Tim, Charmaine, Abby, B, Lily, Danielle, Iona, Alicia, Teresa, Julie, Mike, Will, Graham, Stephanie, Tommy, Daniel, Joe, Hannah, Vicky, Charlie, Kerry, and Sarah. Thank you everyone so much for your support. I cannot believe how many of you have liked my page on Facebook. Honestly, this is amazing. Okay everyone, it's time for this week's Indoor Ideas. Has potential aubergines. Now this one's a bit of a cop-out because if you follow the link I put at the bottom of last week's video, you will see that the BBC guidelines for growing peppers are almost exactly the same as those for growing aubergines. In fact, that's actually how I got this idea. I was having a phone call with my friend Paul last week and we were talking about the video and I mentioned that I was covering peppers. And Paul, who has a proud Italian heritage and loves kind of cooking with Mediterranean vegetables, was quite pleased. So I followed it up by saying that actually the same instructions will cover aubergines. And Paul was a little excited, to say the least. And I promised Paul that I'd do the next video on aubergines. But aubergines are a little bit harder than peppers. GrowVeg.co.uk describes aubergines or eggplants as an easy but tricky veg to grow in the UK. Thank you so much, GrowVeg.co.uk. That is about as helpful as a space hopper on a skydiving trip. Now, I think what GrowVeg.co.uk was trying to say is that yes, in theory, aubergines are quite easy, but there's some significant challenges. Grab your flower chains, stick on your sunglasses, and get on your sunbeds, because this week we're talking about heat. Aubergines come from Sri Lanka. That's right, if you're going to grow aubergines, you've got to kid these guys into thinking that they're on an island off the coast of India. Aubergines germinate at 21 degrees minimum. So ideally, you never really want it dropping below that. In fact, the RHS website actually suggests germinating them in your airing cupboard. And if you needed any evidence that gardening suffers from being a middle-class profession, there it is. Grow them in the airing cupboard, darling. So, what can you do? You can put them in the kitchen if your kitchen has a south-facing window. Kitchens often are one of the warmest rooms in the house. You could put them by a radiator. You could put them by your TV. Most people don't realise just how much heat your TV gives off. You could insulate them using plastic bags or mushroom containers, but I would say plastic bags are probably better for these. And you could put them by a warm south-facing wall. Needless to say, they also need to be on a windowsill where lots of direct sunlight gets to the plants. And I would say watering them with warm water is a big one, particularly since the ideal time to sow aubergines is kind of January, February time. You start getting plants in kind of May, June, and then they should be ready to harvest in August. Now that's a long time, that's 8 months. And the BBC's gardening website suggests you're only really going to get about 5 aubergines. But your main challenge with these is always going to be heat. And on that note, I think you'd have a hard job getting one of these to survive a winter in this country. For my money, it's a bit of an F. And I really, really want to say, Paul, yes, go for it, go and grow loads of aubergines, but it looks like they're quite hard to grow. But I'm not saying it's not doable. You can ease the problem a little bit by choosing the right variety of aubergine. So there's the Bonico AGM, then you've got the Giotto, and those are probably the ones you see in the shops. They've been bred to have a tolerance for diseases and blights, and they grow quite well outdoors. They're quite hard. There's one called the Rosa Bianca, which is a kind of gourmet artisan variety. It's got white rose tinted fruit. Good luck trying to grow that in the UK. That's all I'll say. But just because it's difficult doesn't mean that this isn't exciting. I've always thought of like aubergines and eggplants as quite grown-up vegetables. I always imagine that if you go into a restaurant and order something with aubergines, the waiter will look at your choice and go, oh, I see, sir. Would you like to see the wine list? You feel very refined eating them, right? But don't go into this not expecting any challenges. Have any of you grown aubergines? Is it as difficult as this? Are there any clever little hacks to help you along the way? And how have you kept them warm? One more thing, those of you who've been following these videos since the beginning will know that as well as gardening, I'm also an actor. Now, I appreciate that we're in the middle of a pandemic. Things are a bit difficult financially for everyone, but the Globe Theatre produced a report the other day that said without emergency funding, it might not survive 2020. I don't know if any of you have been to the Globe. It's an amazingly special place. Now, I've had my problems with some of the choices the Globe's made in the past, but I definitely do not want to see the Globe Theatre close. All over the world, people know and respect and love and enjoy British arts, and the Globe is one of the places which is absolutely at the centre of it. Now, if not the Globe, that's absolutely fine. I understand it might have no significance for you whatsoever. Please consider donating to your local arts institution, and there will be one. I'll put that fundraiser down in the description. If you're one of these arts institutions and you're looking for funding, please feel free to comment down below or to message me and I can post about it on social media. And please do consider giving. So that's all from me this week. Please follow me on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram. On Twitter and Facebook, I am @manplanted. And on Instagram, I am themanwhoplantedpotatoes. You can also email me. And if you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe right here on YouTube. Thank you again for all your support, guys. It really does make a difference. And I'll see you all next week.